Hello, race fans. This is Jason, and it's time for Speed Talk.
Hey, and I'm Dean, and let's go. Let's get it. A lot of things going on here. The heat of summer's going on. We're past the midpoint of summer. We're actually getting to the stretch drive of the season already. Geez, doesn't seem like it already, but boy, it's going quick.
It is. Let's talk about Elko and what we've been doing since we last talked. There was a big event. It was the Dwayne Barron's Memorial, and these guys really look forward to this 40 lap late model race. So we finally got to see 40 laps at Elko in the late models, and it was really fun to see one of the iconic names at Elko Speedway, like, a lot of history on that night. And Chris Merrick ended up winning that race.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, that's pretty cool to see that. A lot of these drivers they circled that one on the calendar when that one comes up on the schedule. And it's been on different times of the season too, so it's moved around a little bit. But they always look forward to that race because it's a very important one, especially the long time Elko drivers really look forward to that race, and we always get a couple extra ones along the way too.
Yes, and it was kind of fun for us too because Jim Burns ended up coming back, of course, iconic name at Elko Speedway, and he ended up coming back after many years being away, and he called this race, and so I got a chance to record it. So great to hear his voice. And it really did affect a lot of people. He talked at the drivers' meeting, which was really fun. And he, talked about how important it is with family. And he was like, even though I wasn't here, I was following along with all of you guys. I'm still your biggest fan. And it was fun for me, as being the current announcer, to see the look on people's faces when they heard him, not necessarily saw him, when they heard him, and just the look. And people were giving him hugs, and it was a great reunion. And it was really fun to have him back at Elko Speedway to talk at intermission and to do that race. And I think it meant a lot to a lot of people. And the way I could relate it to is, you and I both grew up with the same announcer, and that's Ron Krogh,
Yeah.
who was the announcer when we both were growing up, and really through much of our careers, he's been an announcer. And so whenever we get a chance to see him and hear him announce, we always want to do it. And
Oh
he
yeah.
isn't announcing all the time anymore. So it's a little more sporadic. And so when I do hear him, I'm like, oh, and I think of all the good times. And I think that is exactly what brought back this emotion with people at Elko Speedway, hearing that familiar voice from a decade or two ago.
Yeah, the nostalgia part, very big time. Especially in a tribute race like that too. Very, very important. Kind of brings you back to the throwback era kind of thing there. And it's always great when you can do stuff like that. A lot of drivers do that with paint schemes on their cars and stuff like that. We bring back a legendary announcer. That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was fun for everyone involved for sure. And then, we're getting, as you said, past the midway point of the season. Elko doesn't have a lot of races at the beginning of the year, but they have a lot of races at the end of the year. Matter of fact,
Hmm.
lacrosse is now done with their regular season. All they have is Oktoberfest left. And so Elko still has quite a few events left. Matter of fact, there are four more NASCAR points nights at Elko, and then another night at the end of the year, which doesn't count for NASCAR points, but that's a lot of racing yet. There's still five more race
Yes.
nights
Yes.
here at Elko.
Yeah. And of course, the trailer race and all that kind of fun stuff happens at the end of the season too. So
Hmm.
we'll talk more about that at a later date. But yeah, there's a lot of chance, and a lot of chance. Of course, double features are a big thing too. So you're going to see drivers looking for those NASCAR points, and NASCAR points is a big deal this year because there's a couple of drivers that you'll see at Elko Speedway that are racing for national points, not just track points, but national points.
So let's get into that just a little bit here, Dino, and let's try to figure it out. Well, first, let's talk about the national points for Division One. Okay. And I've got it up on the screen here. I think you can see it.
Yep, I can see it.
So Chase Johnson from, try pronouncing that town, in Virginia is number one in national points. Now remember, Jacob Gady won Division One national points 2019. So,
Midlothian, Virginia, by the way.
oh, you could do it. Of course you could, Dean. So Chase is number one right now at 422. Jacob Gady at 418. So he's only 4 points back. And like I said, he's done racing at La Crosse, but he'll be racing at Elko through the end of the season. But he has to make up some points. The thing is, we have to have a big enough car count at Elko Speedway for this to make it worthwhile for him. Because if he doesn't have enough cars to race against, he won't be able to get national points, enough points. He is second place out of 982 competitors in Division One. Isn't that
That's
crazy?
a lot. Wow.
Yeah. So 21 features, 6 wins, 18 top fives. Those top fives is what really gets a ton of points in there. So, and it goes through every single event that he's been at. He's been at Elko, he's been at the Dells, he's been at La Crosse, and they're all NASCAR sanctioned. And that's how he has done so well nationally this year. But I think the key is getting enough late models at Elko for the end of the year for him to get a chance to get maximum points. So we've been talking about this a little bit, and you have to have a certain amount of cars or else you can't get maximum points. Can you explain how that works?
Well, yeah, it is a little bit complicated to find all this out. We'll try and make it as simple as possible. Magic number is 16 because 16 times 2 is 32. All right. So maximum number of points you can get is 32. So if you have only 15 cars in each feature race. Yep. So if you only have 15 cars multiplied by 2, it's only 30 points. But if you have 17 or more than 16, it's only the max is out at the 32 points.
So wait a second. So if there's only 15 cars with NASCAR, remember they have to have a NASCAR license. 15
Yes.
NASCAR licensed drivers racing, even if you win, you cannot get maximum points.
That is correct.
You get like second place points, essentially, is what it turns out to be.
Yep. 30 points.
Yeah.
So now, if you had like 20 cars, that's great, but the maximum number of points is still going back that 16 of 32. Each car, as you go down the field, each position dropped by 2 points. So the cars that finish at the end, if you have more cars, just more cars at the bottom are going to get 2 points versus getting nothing, when you run out of the points. So
it doesn't matter if you have 16 cars or 24 cars, the maximum is still 32 points that you can get. But, Dino, I've seen people get more than 32 points awarded on a race. How is that possible?
Well, there's such things as bonus points. And this is the interesting thing. It comes off of where you start from. So if you start first through fourth, there's no bonus points. You're starting up front anyway, and congratulations on the win, but you're not going to get any bonus points. It really comes into play if you finish 5th through 8th. Now, if you finish 5th through 8th.
No, wait a second. When you start.
Excuse me. Now, back up. Start 5th through 8th, and you win. Then you get 2 points, bonus points. So if you start 5th through 8th, you get 2 bonus points. All right. Now, if you start further back, 9th through 16th, say, well, then you get 4 bonus points.
Okay, so this is a big benefit for us because, we invert. And so that means our fastest guys are starting back further. And so it's actually good. These places where, they do qualifying. And if you win qualifying, you start at the beginning, the start on the pole. They are not going to get bonus points.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the bonus points are going to come into play there. Now, the other thing is maybe you got a good starting spot. Maybe when you're starting 4th and you're not going to get any bonus points and you go, well, I just want to start in the rear and then I'll get 4 points if I win, right?
So you just start in the rear on purpose.
Yeah. Thinking that maybe if I opt to start in the rear, I can get the maximum bonus points if I win. Doesn't work that way. It's based on your original starting spot. So wherever you're assigned, that's where this point and starting position thing comes in. If you opt to start in the back for any reason, mechanical, or just say, hey, I want to start from the back, you kind of wipe those off the plate. So you really don't want to do that. So really that 4 bonus point thing is, so you want to start 9th ninth place is kind of where you want to start because you're not all the way in the back. You're near the front. You've got time to get to the front. And if you do, you're going to get those 4 points versus a 2 pointer.
And
So,
that's actually beneficial because for Jacob Gady, he has raced at Elko once this year and he won. Well, he won one of the two feature events. And so that's normally about where he starts. He's starting anywhere between fifth and 11th, is
yeah.
normally where he'd start. But when you think back at car counts this year, it's been down a little bit. Now, nationally, car counts are way down. If you've
Mm-hmm.
looked at that, I don't know if you've looked around, Dino, but I got Flow Racing and I've been kind of jumping around when we haven't been racing. And there's a lot of these feature events in their premier division that are like 12 cars, 11
Mm-hmm.
cars. And these are big tracks and they don't have huge car counts. Elko is kind of the same thing this year where they've been down a little bit on car counts. So let's kind of go through the last couple nights. So, how about August 2nd? Okay. So we click on this. In late models, 15 cars. So that's one short of what you
Yep.
could
So
get
it's
for
only
maximum.
30 points then instead of 32.
Okay. So then how about July 19th? Okay. 19 cars.
Okay.
So
So
that would be
maximum of
fine.
32. The extra 2 points falls in on the ones on the bottom.
July 5th. Let's look at that. 15 cars.
30
Again.
points.
So, but you think we would pick up a couple of those lacrosse cars,
Mm-hmm.
so that's going to help, I would think. So, it's right on the edge of whether it's enough cars or not for
Yeah.
maximum
That's
points for Jacob Gady.
Yeah. And what happens if somebody wrecks their car, and it's
Yeah,
late in the
and
season?
doesn't come
A lot of
back.
drivers say, I'm done then. I blew the
Well,
engine. I'm not going to replace it. I'm done till next year. And so you
exactly.
can lose a car or even a regular competitor that way. That's happened in the past. And that's part of racing. It happens everywhere, not just anywhere around here. It happens on dirt tracks, happens on East Coast, the West Coast, you name it. That's just the kind of the fact of racing.
Yeah, I know Hunter Payne is coming back. He's coming back from injury, so he'll be back. And didn't you say was it Benzik is coming back?
Uh
Um,
Rolstead.
oh, Brian Rolstead is coming back.
Yep.
And so, there's going to be picking up some of those lacrosse cars. And so, yeah, like you said, it's if we don't wreck a bunch,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be some good drama here at the end of the year to see if Jacob Gady could win the national title. And, he's still in the hunt at lacrosse for their track championship as well. But their championship, the Oktoberfest, is after NASCAR points is over with. So there is no NASCAR points.
Right. So if he's going to win a NASCAR championship, he's going to do it at Elko Speedway.
But it would be on
Pretty
Thunderstruck Night.
much.
It would be
Yeah.
Thunderstruck Night is the
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
So because that's the last weekend for national points for NASCAR. So
Yep. So look for that. We'll pump that up and
yeah.
keep everybody in tune with what's going with that
Oh, it's so
because
much
that
fun.
that happened in 2019 that happened and it came down to the last night of racing
Hmm.
and it was pretty exciting stuff. I was monitoring tracks on the East Coast because it was so close, and I think I messaged you and I said the only way he's going to win is he needs to win both feature races, and kind of like that's almost impossible
Yeah,
for him to do. And so what did he do?
he did, and people weren't giving
He
it to
won
him
both
either.
feature
It was
races.
a
No,
really tough night all the way
yeah,
around.
yeah. I
But
mean,
you know what?
he earned it.
Yes, and he's in the NASCAR Hall of Fame down there,
Yes.
because of that. And so, but it's not only Division One that we have a national title competitor. Brent
Yes.
Kane, which he should have won a national championship last year. In his 19 races, he had 13 wins.
Yeah.
Okay. That
Yeah.
is incredible. He had an incredible year last
Yeah.
year, but car count wasn't high enough to get maximum points. So he didn't do well in national points. This year, the car count has been really good in the Thunder
Yes.
cars. Most
Very good.
nights, most nights,
Yes.
it's been right around 16, 17, right in that ballpark. Now,
Hmm.
we went through the nights, and there was one night where there was only 12. And
Yeah.
so that's going to hurt him in national points. But that's why he raced at lacrosse in Taylor Goldman's car last weekend
Yeah.
Again, because they had a good field of Thunder cars, they're called sportsmen over there, and he could pick up some extra national points. So,
Yeah, it's all about the points there.
and but
That's for sure.
it maxes out on races though too, doesn't it? It's not like you can't just
Yes.
race 40 races or something.
Yes, I believe it is 14 for the Division 2, 18 for Division 1. Don't quote me on that 100% because the sources I've got a little bit of confliction in the sources that I had there, but I believe that's where it is. Essentially, you just need to get as many top finishes as possible and not have bad nights. How many wins does Brent Kane have this year?
Well, Division 2, the point leader is Chase Robertson.
Yep,
Okay. He's got 15 events, 24 features, 5 wins,
yep,
22 top fives in 24 features.
yeah.
Okay. So let's look at Brent Kane. So Brent Kane, so
Yep.
far, only 8 events, 15 features, but 4 wins, 13 top fives
Yeah,
in 15 features.
yeah. That's
So those
pretty
top
impressive.
fives really, really add up. He's third place in points out of 874 competitors in Division Two. And
Wow.
he's within striking distance of the leader just because the leader doesn't have a ton of wins.
No,
You
no.
know?
And I think it's funny because we mentioned how this is a great year national points for him, but he's had better years
Yeah.
before
Just the car
and didn't
count.
win it.
The
Yeah.
car
And
count
the
is
car
finally
counts,
up.
yeah. And it's going to finally pay off for him because,
Hmm.
like I said, he's having a good year, but he's had much better years in the past. It just didn't show up nationally as it is now. And that car count's that vital. But
Well,
as we're
I.
talking about Thunder cars, though,
Mhm.
that's one of the most intense classes to watch
Oh,
because you never know who's going to win. There's a lot of drivers on any given night can win in that division, especially this year, and we've seen it already. And I think we're going to see a couple more possibly get in there before the season's done.
yeah. Did you watch that YouTube video of Spencer Corrigan where he had the GoPro? And I thought it was perfect positioning because you could see how hard these guys are pushing it every single lap. And I love the Thunder cars because it has that deep motor sound and you
Yeah.
can really hear it. I love late models, but the thing is, it sounds terrible because it's
Yeah.
that rear end has that whiny, and it's
Yep.
just, but the Thunder cars, you can hear the engine. And when you're watching from way above 20 rows up,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't look as intense as when you have that GoPro inside, and it's amazing how
Oh yeah.
hard they're pushing it and how much on the edge they are. And they're side by side the entire race, and not with one person. They're side by side with this person, then they're side by that person, and then back and forth and back and forth. You said that Brent statistically has had much better years, but this may be his best year racing because it is
Yes.
really intense.
Yeah.
And it's been
It
really
is.
fun to watch in the Thunder
It has
cars.
been. They've been
Yeah.
exciting to watch. The passing, like I said, we've seen drivers that we haven't seen in victory lane for a while. New
Let's
faces
go
in
through
there
them.
all the time.
Let's go
Yeah.
through them. So Tommy Sorum. Okay, so Brent is the point leader with 4 wins, 12 top fives in 13 races. Tommy Sorum, 2 wins, 8 top fives. Okay, so he's in second. He just had that one bad night. Other than that, he's been great this year.
Hmm.
Julie Jorgensen, even though she does not have a win, she's still third in points.
And
Okay,
there's a driver that I'm just
I
surprised
know.
she hasn't won yet.
She's
I think
still
it's
getting
going
a
to happen
feel
soon.
for that car. I
Yeah.
got a chance to talk to her last week and I said, "Hey, are you missing that power stock?" And she's like, "I'll tell you the truth. At the beginning of the year, I was missing it because this car wasn't right. But she's like, now that we got it right, I don't miss it as much." So you're gonna see a win out of here pretty soon.
Yeah.
73 points back. Jimmy O'Mara is had a great year. 2 wins, 7 top fives, 81 points back for fourth. And then Jason Novak has a win.
Yeah.
He's in fifth. Matt Weebush, Eric Montour, Ben Gannon, Conrad Jorgensen won last week. 160 plus wins. And he doesn't know exactly how many wins, but I asked him, and you know what he did? He keeps his windshields from his
Oh,
race
okay.
cars. And he puts all the winter stickers on the windshield. If you notice on the passenger side, there's
Yep.
some
Yep.
windshields that are covering 1/3 of the windshield, you know? with winter stickers. And so he counted up all
I
the
can't
stickers.
see because I'm driving
Yeah,
around my
sorry, I
winter
can't turn
stickers.
right. I hit that guy because I couldn't see him. Um, it's over 160 wins for him in his
Yeah,
career.
yeah,
Now Brent Kane got almost all of his wins in the Thunder Car division. I think he did get a couple in the modifieds. Remember
yeah,
when we had modifieds there for a little bit?
yeah, yeah. I
But
do.
Conrad's, he's done late models, he's done super trucks. Remember?
Yep.
He was a
Oh
super
yeah.
truck champion. And so,
Hmm.
he's done a lot of stuff over the years, but to have two historically good drivers in that
Oh
same
yeah.
division is pretty dang cool.
Oh yeah. So it's amazing. And like I said, look at the numbers of drivers that won, and then few drivers that have yet to win that we think are going to win. So it'll be interesting to see when we get in the stretch here, which we are in right now.
Yeah. So late models, Chris Merrick is the point leader. Fantastic year. I'm so glad he put it together.
Hmm.
3 wins, 9 top 5s out of 13 races. Chad Wallen, remember we talked to him last week, and I said, "Hey, Chad,
Hmm.
you're having a great year." He's like, "No, I'm just not having a bad year." But that's how all these racers are. They're never
Oh
happy
yeah.
unless they're winning, right?
Right.
And he's second in points, but still he's
Yep.
disappointed. But he's
It's pretty
right
crazy.
though. He hasn't had a bad night, you know,
No.
and so that's why he's up there in points. He has 9 top 5s, so he's getting top 5s almost every week. It's just he's not first, and so you know that's how racers are. How about
Oh
Grant
yeah.
Brown? Huh? Isn't it great to have him back?
Yeah. That is great. It's great to have him, and it's great to
What?
see him running the way he is this year.
Yeah, because he's been gone running the Big Eight series for quite some time. One of my favorite moments announcing at Elko was his championship 10 years ago. So he was 15 years old. And by
Oh
the
my gosh.
way, that was in the car that Julie Jorgensen won her championships in.
Wow.
Rob Schnickels won his championship in that same car. And it's also the car that Jimmy Jorgensen is driving right now.
Wow.
Okay. So that
That's a lot
car
of
has
history in
a
that
lot
car.
of history and a lot of championships.
Yeah.
So anyway, that car, I think Mr. Positivity drove that car for a little bit too.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, he did. So there's been quite a few people that raced that car over the years. Um,
Wow.
so so as far as that car and the championship for the power stocks, so much fun. So much fun. It's going to be so cool to see that come down to the end. Just like it
Yeah.
did 10 years ago when
Yeah.
Grant Brown won, 15 years old. It went down to the last night and he just looked like such a rising superstar and it was so much fun to see someone so young win in a division that was so competitive and so rough and tumble, you know?
Hmm.
And so that was one of the most memorable moments of my racing announcing career at Elko Speedway. And really, this year is fun too. With the late models, got Grant Brown still up there, third spot, 3 wins. Owen Giles, 3 wins. He always comes up big every year on the big races. He's won
Hmm.
Thunderstruck, he's won the Barons race. Um, got a chance to talk to him and his dad at the IMCA Old Timers event, and it was really they appreciate the history of Elko and racing in this area. Billy Moen has 2 wins. Jeremy Wolf, sixth place in points. He's quietly had a really good season.
Hmm.
Been qualifying good. Michael Ostick has a win, and then Jacob Gady 1 win so far. We're going to see how he does here at the end of the year.
Yeah.
How about the power stocks? So the car counts are definitely down in the power stocks. And, I always say you have to have at least a dozen cars to put on a good show, right?
Right. Hmm.
If you can get 16, 18, it's even a better show. The power stocks have been right around 9 or 10, okay,
Yep.
all year round. But they're the exception to the rule because they are, I don't know if they hate each other, but they drive like they hate each other, okay?
It gets pretty intense.
Very intense.
That's one way of putting it.
Yeah. So
In fact, last time
yeah,
we looked at the moon to see if it was a full moon, and it wasn't. We
yeah.
thought it was a full moon the way they were driving because it was just craziness, wildness. Oh, it
Yeah,
was
they
something
get
else.
into each other and then they open the door for someone who's in third,
Yeah.
and it's happened many times this year where the top 2 are battling and then the third place goes and passes them. It's Mike Stair has been the one at the with the long end of the stick here
Hmm.
recently with that. And it's funny because Mike Stair is the one who the last 3 years has the most wins, but
Yeah.
he didn't win the championship, right? Because
Yeah.
something would happen. Either he'd crash or there would be some unlucky thing or get DQ'd or something that would ruin
Hmm.
his championship. This year, you know, uh, everything's
Maybe.
gone fine for him.
Yep.
13 top fives in 13 races.
Wow.
Okay. 3 wins. He's got a 9 point lead over Jimmy Jorgensen. 4 wins, 13 top fives. Nick Oxborough had that last place. He had that transmission go out.
Hmm.
And that night just killed him in points. And it's so hard to make up points with only 9 cars out there,
Hmm.
is the thing. And so he's third place in points, 3 wins. Clayton Dorner, 16 years old. It's so funny because I congratulated him on his first win. And he said, "You're a year late because I had my first win last year, Jason." And I go, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I forgot that
Oops.
you won last year too." But he's super excited and very competitive. Paul Hamilton, I don't know if you've seen him in the pits. He had an injury and he hurt his foot, and he's
Yeah.
that
I saw.
runner, and so
Yes.
that's really been difficult for him to get around. But he's doing better now. But he's been hobbling around, so he hasn't raced at all this
No.
year. And
No. And remember, he ran Grandma's Marathon on a Saturday morning, and then went down to Elko and raced
that is
in this race car in the same
unbelievable. I can't even run a 5K and do the announcing. I'm
day.
too tired. So
Yeah.
I
I
gave
mean,
that up because it's too tiring.
and Elko is not real close by to Duluth either.
No.
So, I mean, it's halfway, more than halfway across the state, and then to get back in time to race.
Yeah.
I don't know if he won that night. I think he did a decent, but I don't believe he won.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, just to get in the race car and run a night of racing after physically running.
And Jesse
Wow.
Fisher has 1 win, and they've been struggling with a problem. And I talked to his mechanic a little bit, and they finally figured it out. Okay. It was just like a real unusual thing that you would never expect. It went way over my head, but it took them about a month to figure out this problem. And now they got it figured out. So now they're good. And they raced at Toma too. And so they're just trying to have fun now, because they're not in the points hunt anymore. I think they would have been if
Hmm.
if they wouldn't have had that mechanical problem. But now they're just out there shooting for wins. Gary Stokefist had a win at the beginning of the year too.
Yep.
So, would I love to see 20 of these out there? Of course. But this is the
Hmm.
one division who can put on a real good show with 9 cars.
Yeah, definitely. You don't really realize there's 9 cars out there because you're watching all the action going on
Legend
out there.
cars. Okay, so there's still national points in Legends too.
Yep.
Um, so if you look at the national INEX points, Ayrton Brockhouse is sixth in the nation in semi-pro. Now remember, he does all these big national events, and that's why he
Yep.
does so well. And you say, well,
Hmm.
some of our other guys should be up there in points, like let's say, Paninsky, Cam Paninsky. He doesn't run
Hmm.
those national shows, and so he doesn't
Nope.
get those big national points. And he's not running all over chasing points
Right.
like you have to do in INEX. But Ayrton Brockhouse, they raced all spring and in the winter and stuff, and so
Yeah.
he's
And
sixth in the nation.
semi-pro is the largest of the divisions
Oh
in
yeah,
Legends cars too. So it's not like it's a small amount of people. I don't know the exact number offhand, but
I
it's
bet you it's
a
700, 600,
yeah,
something like that.
it's the largest amount in Legends cars between the different divisions. There between pro, semi-pro, and Masters division. It's the semi-pros which have the largest car counts.
And Young Lions too.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And in the pro division, a familiar name, Jackson Lewis is sixth.
Yes.
Sixth
Yep.
in national points. So I think that's pretty cool. But how about the bandos? Now the bandos are actually
Those
either
are something else.
bandits or outlaws.
Yes.
And number one in the bandits is, you might recognize his last name, Brexton Bush, Kyle
Oh.
Bush's kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
No,
he's not.
I knew that.
Well, you knew that. Number one in
We've
the
known that for a
nation.
while.
Yeah, you see him because I see it on Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
But our very own Christopher Flynn is fifth in
Yeah.
national points.
Yeah. He's
They're
been looking
definitely
pretty
going to go
stellar.
down there for the national championship, I heard as well. So, um, And I think a lot of our guys are going to go
Oh
down
yeah.
there. They
Oh, I
usually
think
do
so.
every year.
Yep. Yep.
So that's really fun. And then we can't forget about our local points for legends. Ayrton Brockhouse is first, 7 points ahead of Cam Paninski. And so Cam, 13 years old, had an incredible year. Now, Ayrton has 2 wins, Cam has zero, but Cam is finishing in the top five every single race. Matter of fact, they've had six
Yeah.
races. He's been top five every race.
Yeah, that's amazing. He's just
He's,
doing an amazing job, and he hasn't won yet. That's the crazy thing
I
about
know,
it.
he's been so close. He's definitely gonna win. 7 points back. Tristan Swanson has 4 wins. Okay. He's missing a race night,
Yeah.
and he's still third in points, 18 points back. Jason Machad, it's great to have him back at Elko.
Yeah. And having a
Racing
great year.
power stocks for all those years. Talk to him. He used to race Legends back in the day, but it was
Hmm.
mainly at Raceway Park. And he said Elko is so different from what he remembers. He's
Yeah.
like, it's taken me a long time to get back in the groove here, but now he's got it.
Well, and the cars have changed a little bit
Yeah.
since too. They've run
Oh, the
different tires,
shocks.
and there's some different
Yeah.
shocks and all that kind of
Well,
stuff
the
on the
engines are
cars.
different probably since then too.
Yes, yeah, because they're all mostly running that newer style engine, not the old
Mhm.
classic engine that
The
we've seen
air-cooled
when it's.
1250 that we did
Yep.
back in the day.
Yep.
Speaking of that, Dirk Henry is fifth in points too, and he missed a race night too. So,
Yeah.
you know, not huge car counts in the legends, but they always have the best race because there's such a big variety from the speed at the back of the field to the front of the field. And so lap traffic is dangerous
To
in the legends.
say the least.
Yes. And
Yeah,
they're racing
because
each
they.
other too, at the back of
Yeah.
the field sometimes.
Yeah, they kind of forget that the leaders are coming up on them and they're racing hard for position, and the leaders sometimes have to zig or zag or just kind of guess where to go to get around them, and they've bumped a little bit in the past here too.
Well,
So
and
it's
usually
no
they're
easy
racing for a
sailing.
top 10,
Yeah.
and they could be, ninth or 10th and they're getting lapped, but yet, hey, I'm still racing out here. So
Hmm.
that's the thing we're struggling with, or the thing that's challenging. And if you've noticed this, and I've noticed this in Legends cars, I also notice it in sprint cars, that you have to be aggressive with lap traffic. If
Yes.
you pause for a moment, you end up making the wrong decision. You have to just pounce at it. And occasionally you see mistakes, but normally to hold on to your lead, you've got to be
Yes.
aggressive with that lap
Yep.
traffic.
Yep. We saw that in the ARCA race too. I mean, that's the ARCA
Hmm.
cars do that,
You're right.
not just at Elko, but throughout the season. They have cars that are off the pace out there, and they're very aggressive working through that. They're not waiting there for the right time to go around them. They get around them and get away as fast as they can.
So Bandos, Mason Westfall is your point leader. So that's Scotty Westfall's kid. He is really talented. And he's such a cool
Hmm.
kid too. Um, I've got a chance to interview some of the Bando kids. We want to do more on-track interviews, but it's so hard during these EVA destructions because there's so many events and we get behind and we can't catch up. Now we're
Hmm.
getting a little more organized, a little quicker, and so hopefully we can do more of this. But I've had a chance to interview Bando kids more because they're the last event before intermission,
Hmm.
and they're so entertaining and so well spoken. Mason Westfall is really funny. The Dubrava kid also was really funny.
Oh yeah.
Remember last week he said, "You snooze, you lose," and the whole crowd just laughed. It
That's
was
right.
really funny. So I love it. I love that they're
Oh
showing their personality. Plus, they get out of these cars and they're so small that people, 7 years old. I mean, people are
yeah.
just shocked. So Mason Westfall is leading, 2 wins, five top fives. Christopher Flynn, 1 win, four top fives, 14 points back. Justice Dubrava, what a talent this kid is. One
Hmm.
win, five top fives, 15 points back. Roman Crow, 1 win, four top five, 24 back. And then George Brockman is the one who's consistent every week. He is
Hmm.
top five in points too. So it's good to see him being successful too. These bandos have been super entertaining this year.
Well, we mentioned that it's not just two wide, it's three wide, and it's four
Yeah.
wide at times too. And somehow they make it work. And that's the crazy thing about it. It's like it's a little scary coming out on corner four wide, but they quickly sort it out. And they don't have, I mean, they have their share of incidents like anybody else does. But that four wide, they actually can drive through that and out of that rather than just wrecking all the time. You're thinking, all these young drivers out there, they get four wide, they're all going to wreck, and that's it. Not the case with these young drivers. They're aggressive, that's for sure.
And we've had the B features or the beginner features, and I think that's really helped to have these brand new drivers get to run their own race, and
Mm-hmm.
they are not up to speed with these 13 year olds who are flying around this track. So I really think it's good to separate them like that.
And it's really cool for them because they get a chance to celebrate a win.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. I mean, they're proudly, if you go in the pits after the races and see those drivers, they have that, they get a trophy for that too. And they're very proud of that too. So that's a cool thing. And that keeps the kids involved. If one driver constantly wins all the time, you kind of lose a little faith in, well, do I want to still do this and stuff like that? But if you can get out there and get a win in one of the races, yeah, it's a pretty cool thing.
So Dean, when you see this car right here, can you see it on the screen?
Yep, I can see it.
What does this make you think of? This was the spectator drags last week.
Yeah, it was an exciting spectator drag race last week, and it was actually a couple weeks ago. But yeah, it was fun. Ashley Bell piloting that thing. She can motor one of those cars. I'll tell you, that's for sure. She you don't need the big engine in a spectator car to win. That car has a powerful little engine in it, and boy, she got it going good time, and had the crowd behind her too. That was the exciting part.
Ended up really close with a Challenger, and
Yeah,
so the big block, V8 type of car is there, and then she's got the four-cylinder, and the V8 would just blow off the starting line, and she would get him in the corners, and the
yeah.
crowd just loved it. And so that's what we need in like a Eva Destruction. Of course, we love the racing, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of other people do too. But you need those wow moments that when people say, "Hey, did you go to the races?" Oh, you should have seen the spectator drags, or you should have seen the hit in the school bus races, or
Yeah.
whatever it is. You should have seen that monster truck, whatever. That helps people keep coming back, and
Oh
so
yeah.
that was an important thing.
Yeah.
Also, I got a chance to meet someone, and this is another cool thing about Eve of Destructions is you never know who's going to be there. So
You got to
this
meet
is,
yourself. No.
yeah, so it's me. No,
Yeah,
I will
no.
be there. Well, I will be there. But how
Yeah,
about this guy?
totally.
This guy was season 4 champion of American Ninja Warrior, Brett
That's pretty cool.
Stephenson. And I think it's really cool that a show like that, which was a national huge hit, and he's here at Elko, and
Yeah,
people get selfies with him, and he was doing a trampoline event. I mean,
yeah.
who would have thought?
He wasn't doing American Ninja event. He was doing a
No,
trampoline event.
yeah, but it
So
was
yeah,
so cool.
that is cool. You never know who's going to be there.
Yeah, I got a
You
chance to
never
do
know.
some traveling in the last few weeks. Went to Toma and got to see Paul Payne win a late model race, CWRA race. What a
Hmm.
beautiful setting at Toma. I know you've been there before too. Isn't that place just wonderful?
Yeah, and they've done some improvements on it too, putting a little more, some fresher asphalt down in parts of make it a little more racier yet too. So great to see that track getting some new life in it, and some of those drivers venturing into Elko too. We might see some more of those in the coming weeks too. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, and that's actually helped out the Thundercar field in the last couple of weeks. I got a chance to go to Viking Speedway, which is my hometown track from where I grew
The
up.
stomping grounds there
hmm The
with
big
the
half mile. And
covered grandstand.
yes, covered grandstand. So you got to look through the poles, but you don't
Yep.
notice it when you're there. You see it in the pictures and you try to take video, and it's like my video keeps focusing on the poles in front of me, which is not
Yeah.
helpful. But, this is where Ron Krogh announced for all those years. And they've got a new announcer, Shane. And just like anyone else, when someone new comes in, you're like, this isn't the same. I don't like this. But he's
Hmm.
gotten really good. And I really like him. Super cool guy. They did not have a very good car count, and actually, it was a very short race night. Matter of fact, they started at 6:30, and we were done at 8:45. So
Oh.
I've never been in the pits with the sun still up. You know,
Yeah, that's
that
a
was
new
the
one.
weird thing.
That's a new one. Yeah. So we talked about the car count thing, and yeah, see, it's affecting tracks all over the place.
Yeah, it
And
was.
so,
So, and then the IMCA old timers, and I'm going to show a couple little pictures. that they had at that, and this was at the county fair in Farmington.
Yep.
So this is an old sprint car there. So cool.
Yep. And you
And
notice the
then
sprint cars still maintain that classic shape, even today's ones do.
look at this one, Dino. This is an
Yeah.
old modified from the East Coast.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so cool. This is a big,
That
big,
is
big
pretty.
V8
Yep.
engine. And
They like
they
those
are,
big blocks out
oh
east.
my gosh. So such a cool car. And you could see the snowmobile on the other side over there.
I bet that was a heavy car too. You know, when we talk about
Hmm.
lightweight race cars back then, they made them really tough.
So there's a Dwayne Barron's car. And this was
Yep.
his championship car, and there's his helmet and, driving suit and such. So cool. And, everyone was really happy. Um, this was on display as well. St.
St. Cloud
Cloud
Speedway.
Speedways. And
You
see,
met
I had no idea. I've never heard of that. And I said, is that the Golden Spike? But
no.
it's not.
No, see that actually existed, and I talked to my dad about this too because it's like I told you, I told him that you sent me this picture, and I asked him about that one. I actually saw another somewhere out there. There's a picture of a race poster, and it actually tells you directions how to get to the track. But I knew where it was. It was on the south side of St. Cloud. It's on literally on the Country Club Road. If you go down
Oh,
the
yeah.
Clearwater Road on the south side of town, there's a long road. It says Country Club Road, but you got to go down this little winding road. You go past the golf course, and then you finally get to the country club. Before you got to that, there was actually like a dump. And in that area right there was the speedway. It didn't last for very long. I believe it was in the 50s, possibly into the 60s. I don't have all the dates on that. Going to do a little research and find out about that. And then it kind of went away and it was replaced by stock car races at the Benton County Fairgrounds, which had a big racetrack, not like the grandstands that you see at the county fair now, but it was a much bigger racetrack with, I believe, a covered grandstand. And then that went away. And then it was in the early 70s that the Golden Spike Speedway came. I believe it was in 70 or 72, if I remember right in my history on that one. That's when that came along, operated as Golden Spike for a while, and then it became Granite City, which it is now. So
Yeah.
little history on my end of the world right here.
Yeah, because you live up in St. Cloud in that area.
Yep.
And of course, we were both the announcers at I-94 Speedway and Raceway in Sauk Center and Fergus Falls.
Now,
So,
in Sauk Center, there was a racetrack too at the fairgrounds once upon a time, the Center
yes,
Speedway.
Center
I never
Speedway.
saw that one either, but that was, that was some history going back prior to I-94. There was a racetrack literally across where the freeway is at the fairgrounds too. So a lot of drivers that that raced at Alexandria Viking Speedway raced at the Center Speedway in Sauk Center as well too, because you hear all of those classic names that come up, especially when you're in the Viking Speedway, when you hear the not just sons of drivers you used to follow, now the grandsons of drivers used to follow. Still the same names living on there as well. And you got a chance to go to Iowa Speedway too.
Yeah, and so
we were all over the place in the last month or so.
This is the Midwest Racing Connection, and I trashed Iowa Speedway pretty bad last year for the IndyCar race because it was not an entertaining race. It was 2 races and it was single file, and it was boring. This year, the exact opposite. 2 races, and they both were very, very entertaining, good races. Unfortunately, look at the crowd.
Yeah.
Let's call it sparse crowd.
Nasty.
They estimated about 6,000 people in a place that seats, 30. And so, rumor is that it's not going to come back to Iowa Speedway. Of course, they have the NASCAR race now down there now, and so everyone's excited about that. But for the IndyCar, the excitement has waned. Let's put it that way. So that was disappointing. Got a chance to, but I had fun. I mean, we had a blast.
Yeah, I following along and during the course of the weekend of all your exciting stuff you were doing there.
Yeah, and we got a chance to have some legends of IndyCar do a talk, and that was so much fun. And they were just doing selfies. Ryan Hunter-Ray and Ari Lyondike and
Is that Bobby Rahal?
Bobby Rahal, who was just standing next to those guys. You can understand why they're so successful. People who have charisma, they just have it. and then people just he has it. He doesn't
Yes.
have to try.
No.
He's just being himself, and everyone just he's such a great he can really portray his emotions, and he can recall all these different races, and he's very entertaining and very well spoken. And so it was a blast. We had a blast down there. Now, the IndyCar race at the Milwaukee Mile is coming up here in just a couple weeks,
Hmm.
and there's rumors that that's not coming back either to IndyCar.
Yeah.
So
Well, they've had problems trying to promote that race too. So
I don't
hopefully
know.
they can get that figured
Well,
out
it's
too.
flooded last
Milwaukee's,
weekend.
yeah. If you went there, you went to the fair,
Yeah.
you might not have found your car right away.
It
And they
might have
actually
been
canceled the
floated
last day of
down
the
the
fair.
river.
Yeah, no kidding. Imagine that
So,
happened during a race. Jeez.
yeah.
Pretty
So
nasty.
I
It's
don't
like they
know.
canceled the race because of rain, and then you can't get out of there because you can't get your car out. So nasty stuff. But
I
yeah,
don't know. I
hopefully
want
they
to
keep that
follow
up.
the IndyCar, but they're moving further and further away from me. So
The
might have to
plus
go
side
down.
is there is a plus side of that though. They're all on Fox on the
Yeah,
network. They're not hard to find the races. Unlike Cup races are getting harder to find. It's like, okay, what network are we on this
yeah,
week?
you got that right.
And oh my gosh, it's like, and then what time does it start? Like last week, it actually started at a respectable time, and I missed the beginning of it because I'm usually waiting for this late afternoon start, and it actually
Hmm.
started in early afternoon. It was
I
done by
know.
like 3:30, which is like, whoa, they usually barely start by 3:30.
I
So
guess we're just
kind of
gonna have to
kind of
stick with the
odd.
ARCA series, Dino, because I tell you,
Lots of stuff with that. Oh man, lots of stuff
dirt
with that.
track,
Yeah.
road course, super
Yep.
speedway, a little tiny, 3/8 mile tracks, Madison, there's
Yep.
Salem, they're all over the place. And what a great series. ARCA's been incredibly entertaining this year, I think. Maybe just because, we got to see it up close. And so we got to talk to the drivers, and maybe I just feel that connection with them because of that. But I've been thoroughly entertained with the ARCA series, and there's drama all the way through the field from the front to the back. These people, like Willie Mullins and the clubs, and these one-offs who are trying to
Mhm.
make it. That's also a part of the drama as well.
Yeah, it's interesting and it's fun. I'm glad we get a chance to experience it here and to see that series come through here because it does so many different things that, especially a short track, relatively short track, even though there is a Daytona and Talladega, it's called the track type series. And then they do the dirt races and stuff like that. That's amazing too. And those are coming up here. They're usually right around the end of August into September. You see those two dirt races, and those are kind of fun. Not your typical type of dirt race that you normally see either. And different strategies. They like look for water puddles to cool the tires off. You don't see that when you watch a dirt track race in locally. You don't look for drivers when there's a caution. They're not looking for a puddle to drive through to cool the tires off and stuff like that. Different kind of race strategy. They don't kind of hang the cars out like you normally see a modified or a dirt late model do. They kind of maneuver around the corners a little bit differently, and they still have the windshields in, which is another
Yeah.
thing that you don't normally see, and that sometimes can create problems too with glare or too much dust built up on it too.
Well,
So
NASCAR,
lots of
the
different
Cup
things.
Series, went to Bristol, and they tried,
Yep,
the Tony Stewart's track, Eldora, and stuff like that, and they
yep,
kind of went away from it, except for
yep,
ARCA. ARCA has always done this for so long.
yeah,
And speaking of dirt track, I'm going to go to World of Outlaws on Friday night at
yeah.
Ogilvy. So really looking forward to that. To see Donnie Schatz and the Tony Stewart team.
Hold it, hang on here. Time
Oh,
out. Breaking
dang
news
it.
here from the last
Oh,
day or so.
there might be a problem
After
there.
after 18 years, it will
Dang it.
not be Donnie Schatz driving a Tony Stewart sprint car. That just came in over the week. We don't know what Donnie Schatz's plans are. Hopefully, he'll be there.
I
Be kind
would
of nice to
think
see him.
so. Now we
You would think he
remember
would be.
him when he was called Donnie the Kid Shots,
Yes,
and he was racing, in our neck of the woods when he was just a teenager.
like 15, I think he
Yeah,
was.
15 years old. And of course, now he's been a superstar for a long time.
I
And then,
remember he hung it up in the fence once up in corners number 1 and 2 at Sock. He actually got it right up in there, and the whole car was hanging in the fence. And
wow.
they just got that out and fixed the fence, and they rolled another car off the trailer, and away we go.
Because Dick Johannick loves sprint cars. Okay.
Yes,
And so he liked doing these big specials. And, he had brought in Doug Wolfgang that one time. Were
yeah.
you there for that?
I was that. That was the very first race that I ever covered as a reporter. I
Oh,
actually wrote a story about Doug Wolfgang racing. I don't think he won that night. I believe he didn't win that night, but that was what inspired me to become a race car
wow.
reporter.
And that was
Is that
1992, wasn't it?
I was 92 or 91, and the years kind of run back. It's
Hmm.
been a while, but yeah, I was it was a fall special, and that was my first ever
It was
race story
probably
that I ever wrote.
91 then. If it was probably 91 if it was in the fall.
Yeah, yep. Then
Yep.
was that I think it was 91 then, and it was kind of cool to see my race story in the checkered flag racing news. I was all excited about that one. Somewhere it exists in my house, but I don't know where it is now. I definitely wouldn't throw it away, and I definitely have it someplace. I have to try and find that. I'd laugh now if I read that article after the hundreds of race stories that I've written over the years to read that one now and see how I would write a race
I want
story
to see
versus
that.
then.
I want to
Yeah,
see that. Also, I think
it might take me all winter to
you hold the record for having the most stories written in all the dirt from an asphalt track.
Yes.
Because all the dirt racing news and they publish your story every single week, even though we were asphalt.
Yes. Well, remember because we were Soda sanctioned, and that
Hmm.
was with Soda tried to venture into something new. And the experiment lasted for a couple of seasons and then it went away. But the super stock national champion was a pavement racer that in one of those years.
Was that
Remember who that was?
Jarnson? Was that
Kevin
Jarnson?
Jarnson out
Yeah.
of Fergus Falls. Yep.
Yep. Yep. He was a heck of a driver, but it was
Yep.
so different back then with it was just such a new thing. And
Hmm.
well, down here, down at Elko, I'm sure they were fast, but it
Yep.
was a completely different division of cars. And
Yep.
so they didn't have it figured out yet.
Yeah.
A few
Yeah.
years. Remember the Rocky Thompson just squealing through the corners?
Oh yeah, that
You
was
could
something
hear his
else.
car
That was something
coming.
else.
You
No,
don't hear the car's tires squeal like that anymore.
I think it's kind of funny because Kevin Johnson, he won a lot of races because he won the national championship that one year. So he goes to the race of champions, what they had at the Wissota
Oh
100.
my
And so
gosh.
you got an asphalt car and he's racing on this race of champions with all the dirt cars on a dirt track. It's like, boy, talk about a disadvantage
Yeah,
there.
how'd that
You
work
know?
out?
Yeah, I didn't
Not
hear the
good.
finish, but I know for a fact he didn't finish in
He
the
didn't
top
win.
five. No, no. It's like, well, that idea didn't work out too sweet there.
Yeah.
So, but
But
yeah,
yeah,
I'm the only one.
I-94 was dirt for the first 3 years,
Yep,
91, 92, 93, and then went asphalt in 94 and
yep,
stayed asphalt until 2007. And
yep.
so,
And ran under the NASCAR
yeah.
sanctioning body for a couple of years, and
Hmm.
ASA for a few years as well too. So a lot of things here back in the history. If we're talking history
Yep.
of racing, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you wanted to learn more about the history of I-94 Raceway, just Google it. And I made a website, and you contribute a lot of stuff to that too. So
Yes,
just
yep.
look for I-94 Raceway, I-94 Speedway, and I got links through Race Fans Radio at blogspot.com. And so yeah, there's
I
lots
think
of
we
stuff
have
on there.
an audio thing that we did too. Is that that's on the website too? That I think we did like 3 parts. I remember we did that over a couple of weeks. We did a audio history of the track. And we shared some stories and some interesting things from that happened back then. I have to listen to that. It's been few years though since we
Yeah.
recorded that, but that was a whole lot of fun when we did that one because we had a lot of stories. In fact, we kind of had a general idea of some stories we were going to talk about, and as we started going, we started remembering more stories. And so there's chock full of interesting things in there. And just by there the other day, in fact, where the Speedway was, when I went to the Stearns County Fair. I've lived in Stearns County my entire life, yet until just this last week was the first time I ever went to the Stearns County Fair, which is directly across from where the racetrack was.
Isn't that crazy?
But there was a problem too. Do you know? I remember a quick little story here that we had a problem once when the fair was going on and we had racing. Do you remember that?
Um, are you talking about at I-94?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, well, I know that our crowds were always a lot smaller on race nights, on the demo derby night.
Yeah, that was always the thing going up against Demo Derby. But we had
Hmm.
a problem because they have radios on the carnival rides and stuff,
Oh, and
and
they're
they were on the
fading over.
same frequency as the racing thing. And I remember
That's
Buzz
funny.
Cripe, who was the
I,
flagman at the time, said somebody was going, "We need more quarters at the Ferris wheel," and he's like, "Can you get off the radio? We're trying to run a race here."
That's
I
hilarious.
wish I could have recorded that. That would have been the most timeless piece of memorabilia. But that one stands out because I remember they were talking left and right, and they were talking just stupid people having stupid conversations over their walkie-talkies during the race,
Yeah, it's
and
like
we couldn't hear what was going
we
on.
actually had spotters,
Yeah.
at I-94, where I know other places didn't
Yep.
in the late model division.
And so a lot of
Yeah,
memories from that. A lot of
and
fun.
so the website is smokejackson.blogspot.com. And or if you
He
just
used,
search I-94 Raceway Memories, this is what comes up. And we did this, and it has all the point standings from all the different years and talks about the big Artco race and stuff like that. There's Michael
there's Kevin
Waltrip.
Sawinski. Oh, there's
Yeah,
Tim
Kevin.
Olson
Yep, Tim Olson, Kevin
in a
Sawinski.
Camaro.
Yep, and that's John Lemke.
Yeah, that's spinning out in that one picture on the top there in that Valvoline car. Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. My brother took those
And
pictures.
that's Steve Carlson, I believe, behind that, who ended up winning that race.
Oh, guess who this is right here? Do you know? Do you see it?
That's
This
just
is
some kid.
Yeah, some kid. I don't know who his name
Some
is.
kid from Wisconsin.
Some Kinseth. I never heard of him. Matt
Yeah.
Kinseth is who that was.
Was he trying to spin out Tim Olson? Is that what he was trying to do in that picture?
Yep, it looks like it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's
there's
what right
Carlson
there.
there. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty fun. And we did do an oral history of the track in 4 different parts, which is on here. And yeah, there's Michael Waltrip who raced in that race as well.
Yeah, he didn't race for very long though, unfortunately, and that was a very short stay. Love the hair.
Yeah, bad hair day he wrote on there. I brought
Yeah.
that to him later. He wasn't too enthused about it. But yeah,
He's like,
Smoke Jackson.
where
So
did you get this thing?
why is it called Jackson?
Yeah, who is that?
Should we tell
Okay,
the
so
story or
we might as well. We got time here. We don't play a commercial or
we're
anything
not
like
on the
that.
radio
So
anymore, so we might as
exactly. So
well.
we got all the time. If you're
So,
still watching this, stay tuned.
we had a lot of travelers who came up to I-94 just occasionally, and sometimes the word didn't come to the announcer stand from where they signed in. You
We're
know,
always the last to know.
who was who. And so all of a sudden there's a car. We'd always walk the pits beforehand, but the race starts and we're up in the booth and you're reporting whatever. All of a sudden there's a car out there and we have no idea who it is. And so I would just announce Smoke Jackson just to have a name. And then sometimes you, who wrote the race story, never did find out who it was.
No.
And you would actually put in the paper, Smoke Jackson finished 8th place in this race
because I
you had
needed
no
to put
idea who
ninth
it
and
was.
because I needed to put ninth and 10th in there, so I couldn't just like skip a spot. So we would just kind of slide that in there and hope nobody noticed it.
Yeah, so that's why it's
Yeah.
called
So if
Smoke
you ever look
Jackson.
at the old race results, occasionally that pops up. No, actually, that didn't just happen at I-94 too. I do remember one race when Donnie Reavers was running for a championship at Raceway Park. And they actually started an extra car because, once again, car count made a big deal. So they started an extra car, and somehow or another, I got that. Told somebody along. I told Kevin, the announcer, that was they didn't have a name for him either. Who was driving this car? It was kind of a start and park kind of thing. It was things you do, and Smoke Jackson actually raced at that track as well too.
Oh, really?
I don't know
Does
if
it
it
have
showed up in the
anything
official results.
Does it have anything to do with Brian Roach, Smoke Jackson?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. No. But we've created some.
When there's shenanigans, it's usually Roach and that group that come up
We've
with
created some lore along the way here too,
Yeah.
and so we just made up stuff along the way.
Yeah.
So if you ever hear us talking about this mythical race car driver, or this mysterious person,
Yeah.
we're just making this all up. So
Yeah.
that's the inside scoop of it.
Well,
Some people caught it, some people never did.
and you have to have a little bit of fun, when you're dedicating, all this time. And, you ended up traveling a lot back and
Yeah.
forth to all these different places. And sometimes we do race nights, especially in Fergus Falls, and I could count how many people were in the stands.
Yeah.
When you can actually count the fans, that's
Mhm.
not good. Okay. And
Yeah.
I rarely get over 300. So, you got to have a little bit of fun when
yeah.
you're doing this. And so,
Yep.
the racers were that way too. It's a little bit like Raceway Park, where people hung out together and it wasn't just competition, it also is hanging out with your friends on the weekend. So
Yeah,
that's all
it
part
was.
of makes it fun. And we're,
Yep.
trying to do that same thing at Elko, but it's so intense. It's so intense. So we just got to remind ourselves every once in a while that this is supposed to be fun too. So,
Yeah. Well, and the fun thing about it is make sure you go down the pits after the races because
hmm
there's always a lot of fun going down the pits after the races too.
Yep.
So and I applaud the fans at Elko. The number of fans at Elko that go down the pits after the races. It's amazing
Yeah.
because I've gone to a lot of other tracks and they
Nobody.
just don't do that.
Yeah,
They
people
don't
leave
do
right
that.
away, especially these
Yeah.
dirt tracks, because they're probably running somewhere else the next night.
Yeah.
And that's the
And
thing. They just want to get home and start working on their car or whatever, try to get some sleep because the next track is, 3 hours away. And so they leave. A lot of times people leave before the end of the race night, even.
yeah, I
We've
don't.
been both had been there where we go to a dirt track some night and we're like, oh, I want to talk to this guy. I haven't seen this guy in years. We run down there right after the races and they're already gone.
Yep, yep, and that happens. And actually, that happened with a late model series race. I announced the race late model series for a while, and then the following year, I went to some races, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go on the pits afterwards and say hi to some of these people. Most of them were gone by the time I got down there. I didn't buy a
Hmm
pit pass that night. And I thought, well, I'll just go down there. They should be down in the pits. Well, they didn't run last. They ran second to last, or there was another, something, at the end of the program, so I couldn't get in the pits right away. By the time I got down there, they were all gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not a service to your fans doing stuff like that. I mean, I understand people are going, but people pay money to come see you.
hmm
People, you have sponsors and stuff like that. That's a good way to show off your sponsors too when you're down there. I mean, a lot of the sponsors are handing out stuff at Elko. Occasionally there's places that have pizza, as a pizza sponsor, and
Yep.
they're giving out pizza and stuff like that, and a
Candy
lot of that
and
stuff. So,
lots of them have t-shirts this year now too, and so
yep.
that's all great advertising going in the parades and going on social media and sharing the stuff. It's not just old school. It's a new way of marketing for sure, but
Yeah,
it's
and
all
you got to
fun.
do that. And I mean, we like that too. I mean, I
Hmm
follow a ton of drivers from all over the place on Facebook and such, and it's fun to see what they're doing, not just at the track or working on the car, getting ready, or maybe they'll run someplace else that I'm not going to, but I can follow along and see how they're doing elsewhere too. And like I said, the parades and stuff, I even can see, they always post that stuff on there too. So it's fun to follow your drivers on social media as well too.
even like what Natalie does at Race Car Alley is such a
Hmm.
huge promotion for the track
Oh
too.
yes,
So that is
yes.
really important. I'm really thankful that people do that. Like this weekend, the drivers are donating bikes for Kids Night. So that'll be the
Hmm.
16th at Elko Speedway Saturday night. Kids Night is always fun because the buses go around the track before the national anthem. Okay.
Now these aren't the runs that race, right?
No,
Just
no, these
no.
are Schmitty's and Sons. These
Okay,
are brand
okay.
new,
I want to make sure we got
super
the right
nice
guy.
buses. Okay.
And
But
super safe drivers too,
that's
right?
usually at 6:20. Okay.
Hmm.
This year, national anthem is an hour earlier. So that is starting at 5:20. So if you're coming this weekend, you got to get there early. I don't want kids to be disappointed. And I think there's going to be some disappointed kids because it's
Hmm.
hard to, everyone just remembers for the years past, but it's an hour earlier this year. So get there early. And then at intermission, we're going to give away a bunch of bikes too, donated by the drivers, which is
Yes, they
super
were
cool.
very anxious about that the last meeting, drivers meeting they had there, where they were all like, "Okay, yeah, I'm in,
Yeah,
I'm
they
in."
want to do it.
They want to do it. They're
Yeah,
excited about that,
yep.
and so
So
that's going to be a
that's
good
one of
thing.
my favorite nights of the year for sure.
Yeah, of course we got some other big events coming up here too. Thunderstruck is a little ways off yet, but they'll be here before you know it, and that's going to be so much fun too.
Just over a month.
Yeah, and then a little over a month too, we're done with racing for the year.
Hmm
It's kind of crazy too. And of
Yep.
course, that last night we kind of teased about it before, all the crazy stuff going on in that one. That's the one you definitely want to make sure you're at too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then are you going to Oktoberfest this year?
Don't know yet, maybe, possibly.
I definitely am going this year. I missed it last year, so
If it's not 90 or 100 degrees or snowing, because I've been there for it's snowing, and I've been there when it's like ridiculously hot too. So we'll
I've
see.
been there and it rained the whole time. And
I've
then
been there
when
for
they
that
first
too.
started going, I had to leave because I had a concert. So isn't that the way it goes?
Oh,
I wish
yeah.
that
You
place
never
was a
know what
little
you're going to get.
closer.
You have no idea what you're going to get. This year, it will probably snow.
I
You
remember
know,
one year,
it's just crazy.
Frederickson overheated because of leaves in the radiator, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
because it
Yeah.
was so hot. I mean, who would have thought it would be so hot at Oktoberfest? you
But there's
know?
a lot of trees around that
Yeah.
racetrack over there in 3-4 corner. There's a lot of trees over there. So yeah, it would make sense that there's leaves on the
Yeah.
racetrack. So lots of stuff. That's a lot of fun. But that also means that's the end of racing though too,
Yeah.
because there's not a lot after that for the season. So
Well, we're going
yeah,
to have a banquet this year at least.
yes, that's
So
gonna be a big thing.
racers banquet. So looking forward to that too. Well, I think
Yep.
we've blabbed long enough here, Dino. So thanks. We'll keep in
Come to
touch
the
with you,
racetrack and
Dino.
listen to us
Yeah.
blab, right?
This weekend. I'm
Yes,
Jason,
I'm Dean. We'll
and
see
we'll see you
you
at the
at
track.
the track.
That's awesome.